folks, it's Lenny with Hunting Western Mass. Good to see you. We're getting ready for hunting season. We're about 19 days out now, and we're starting to get our stands and cameras up and blinds, and our next step is sighting in our weapon. I had really good results with the last video that I put up on sighting in my Barnett, so I decided to do a little more advanced video on how we do that. And the number one rule always, safety is first. Hunting Western Mass, we do not condone alcohol or drugs when shooting or hunting. It's just not a good idea. If you're going to be drinking beers and stuff, do it afterwards, you know. So you're getting ready for hunting season. You're going to pull out your bow. You want to sight it in. First thing you want to do is, I use the Barnett Recruit. This is my favorite weapon. I hunt with it all season, all species, turkeys, deer, but especially deer. Even during shotgun season, I prefer the Crossbow. I have a permit for it. You have to be licensed. And so you pull it out. The first thing you want to do is you want to wipe it down. You want to check the string for any frays. Make sure there's no, weak spots in there. You want to check your limbs. Make sure there's no cracks or breaks. And once you load your arrow, you're not going to be able to check your safety. Your safety is not going to engage until after there's an arrow in it. So you give it a visual check, wipe it down, clean it up, and your next step is you want to use the right maintenance stuff. And I use scorpion venom, what's called scorpion venom. This is a polymeric bowstring fluid, and you basically, it's got an applicator tip. You put it just on the red parts. You never want to put it on the wrapped part of the string, but like you'll see, like right here, I got a little white spot right here on my string. I'm going to use some of the scorpion venom, and it's going to kind of take that out. I'm just giving it a quick little coat. You want to use it sparingly, lightly. I'm just going to hit it real quick like that. And the next step is, again, scorpion venom. This is a Crossbow rail lube. It's in a yellow container, so you don't confuse the two. It's also got an applicator tip. I've already done this bow because I've been shooting it, and you use it on the rails, and again, lightly, and you're not supposed to use your fingers to wipe it down. You don't want the oils really mixing with this, but you want to make sure that it's just got a nice light coat on it, so your arrows shoot very, very nicely and evenly. Now for arrows, I use the Easton Crossbow Raiders. I use XX75s. They are half moon nock 20-inch arrows, and I buy them there about $40 for a 6-pack. And this is one of them. This one I had to repair. You want to use one arrow for sighting in, pretty much, because what happens after continued shooting is you're going to have your vanes are going to fall off and have to be re-glued. We just actually re-glued this one. This one I used last time to sight in, so I'm going to be shooting this one today. I have a little kit here for my practice tips. Practice tips, you want to make sure you have the same practice tip that you do, that is the weight of your broadhead that you're going to be using. And what I use for that is I usually use a little digital scale to measure what I call my total payload. My total payload is the weight of the arrow and the weight of the broadhead, and you want to check your product specifications and make sure that it's designed for your bow. In this case, I'm using a 20-inch arrow, I'm using a 100 grain broadhead, and I'm using a half moon nock that's designed for this bow. This bow can shoot 20 or 22-inch. I prefer the 20-inch. It's just the 22-inch, I don't think it's necessary. It's a heavier arrow. At further shots, it's going to fall faster. So I'm really happy with this combination. So the next thing I want to talk about is weapons. Check your weapons and arrows. Make sure they're good. Okay, some guys number their arrows. They'll take a perma marker and they'll number their arrows 1 through 6. They'll shoot them. Sometimes you might have 1 or 2 arrows that shoot just a little bit off. So out of the 6, you might have 4 that are really good. and out of that 4, you might find 2 that are really sweet. But I don't do that. I trust Easton to do their quality control. So right now what we're gonna do is get ready to shoot. There's our target out there. We're gonna zoom in on that in a second, or maybe you can take a little closer look right now. We're shooting at about 20 yards, and we're gonna go ahead and take a few shots and make sure we're dialed in. All right, let's get ready to do that.
Yep.
Okay, Lankel, we're ready to shoot. I've cocked my bow. Okay, first thing you want to do is make sure that's seated all the way back. Actually, the first thing you want to do is check your safety. When I cocked this, it was just a little bit out, and there was a distinctive click when I made sure that it was on. So you always want to make sure that safety is fully engaged when you're not shooting. So I got my arrow in here. It's firmly, now if you'll notice this, I have a little bit of a play where it's not quite sitting all the way straight on there, and I'm not sure if that's, you know, because of this rail or not. But anyway, it you want to make sure that that's seated there good. Okay, so you're shooting the same way every single time. All right, so I got my bow, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot at 20 yards, my first one, and we're gonna be using a 12-3-6 pattern. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Right now I'm aiming for dead center. Here we go. Alright, you want to zoom on that? Alright, now go ahead and unzoom and we'll take a walk up there, because I got to pull the arrow anyway, because I can't see where it is. So let's go ahead and take it. Usually what I like to do is do a 12, 3, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock pattern. You don't want to shoot the arrows one after the other. See, that one just disappeared. I don't even know where it went. Okay, it's way back here. There's got to be a hole. Okay, so there's my point of impact right here. This was a clean hole, so this is where I hit, and I'm shooting left right now. Okay, so my arrow, which is probably trashed from shooting, luckily it's not. But what I noticed here is that I'm shooting a little bit to the left. This is my point of impact right here. So I want to adjust to make sure that that I'm going to come right. So I'm going to come on back, and we'll make some adjustments on the bow. Click wise at 20 yards. If you're shooting further, it's going to be less clicks. But if you're shooting at 20 yards, you're looking at about, you know, I would say at that distance, it's probably going to be at least. Is this my right left? Okay, this is my right left. So I'm probably going to want to go at least 12 clicks for this. So I'm going to go 12 clicks. 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there's 12 clicks, and then I'm going to want to shoot again. So I'm going to go ahead and load it, and maybe this time you'll be able to see what I'm talking about with making sure the safety is always engaged with the Barnett. So I'm going to load it. Trust the loader, and you'll see, first thing I do, check the safety. Look, see how it wasn't fully engaged? Always want to check that. Okay, so now I'm dialed in. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure the arrow's fully seated, point it in a safe direction. All right, now that I made my adjustment, I'm gonna click the safety off and take another shot. All right, I'm going to go over a couple things real quick. These are 2 different cocking mechanisms that I have. I like this one. It's shorter. This one is designed for all kinds of bows. It's a little bit longer, it can do different bows. This one I like is just because it's light, it's short, it fits my bow to a T. This one has rollers on it. So what the rollers do is when you wrap around where you're supposed to and you go up to the string, these rollers will actually go right up the side of the bow. They'll go right up the side of the bow and make sure that it's an even pull when you cock and load it. So I put it down like this. I got the rollers on there, cock and load. And they say that, I could pull this back. See, that wasn't fully engaged again. I could pull this back with my fingers, but they say using a cocking mechanism actually makes a little finite more difference. Now, one thing I wanted to go over real quick with these arrows is that with your practice tips, there's different kind. They make them for carbon arrows, they make them for aluminum arrows. As long as it fits there inside it or snug with the edge, but if it's too fat, you don't want to use it. It's the wrong kind. So I'm gonna go ahead and take another shot here. I made some adjustments and I want to see where I'm at. Alright, here we go. Okay, we switched targets and I've made some adjustments, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a whirl here. That time the safety engaged all the time like it's supposed to. These arrows are starting to look a little ratty. I might pull out a freshie here in a minute, but I'll give one more shot with this one before I do that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and shoot. And we should be getting a little closer. If anything, that should have just been a touch high. Oh, looky there. Looky, looky. Ball. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's a good shot. Okay, now we're getting a little more dialed in. As you can see, I'm just a little bit to the left still. Okay, so now that we're that close, we're dialed into within a couple inches. I'm gonna make one more minor adjustment here to my scope. My up and down is good, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover that. And when you're covering these, you definitely don't want to strip them. So what I do is I put it on and I screw it the opposite way that I want to until I hear a click. Once I hear that click, like that, then I know that the threads are going the right way when I screw it on without stripping my threads. Okay, and I have one more adjustment to make, so I'm going to come to the right. Left is this way, right is the other way, so I'm going to go just maybe 2 clicks. 3 might be too many. I'll try 3. I really only got to go like maybe an inch. So, okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and cock it. I got a good feeling. I think we're dialed in. That with the hundreds and the 400 grain total payload. All right. Let's see. Yep. Still have that little half. Alright, go ahead and shoot. I don't know which arrow I shot that time, but go ahead and shoot this one. Okay, here we go. 21 yards, Barnett Recruit, final sighting. Yeah, have a look. Take a look.
Oh, went the wrong way.
I don't see any holes. Okay, so we sighted in, and as you can see, I came into here, I made my final adjustment. There's my last hole, which is, I'm very happy with that. I'm going to consider this bow sighted in. And I'm going to pull it out. This is a, I don't even know the name of it, I can't see it. It says Weld Core Shot Blocker that I'm using. I abuse these things, I really do. I shoot a lot, so but it's a workhorse. I've used it a lot, but after today, you can see there was my first shot. I made my final adjustment. My point of impact was right here. I'm very happy with that. That means that the deer is a little bit further away and the arrow drops a little bit. It's going to drop maybe down to center. So this is what I consider a optimally, is that a word? Optimally sighted in crossbow. Okay, here we go. Not bad. All right, I'm gonna zoom it. Let's take a look. Woohoo! Okay, here we are at 50 yards. I'm dropping down to my third reticle, and we're gonna take a shot. How you doing? Lenny Kale, Hunting Western Mass. We're sighting our Barnett Recruit today. These are two 50-yard shots that we took after we sighted in the bow. You can see where we sighted it in. We were hitting right here, so I backed off. I wanted an idea of what a long shot would look like. You can see it took me a couple of shots to get dialed in. Once I did, that was the third to last shot floater. Then I took this shot and adjusted my point of aim, and that ended up being my last one. So at 50 yards, I'm happy with that. I feel like I could make a safe shot at 50 yards if the conditions were right, and so it's a good idea to know where your bow shoots at all times. I wouldn't shoot at a deer any further than that, just for safety reasons. The worst possible thing you could do is wound an animal and have to try and track it all over the place. So, you know, if it was a racker and it was at 45 yards or something, I would feel good knowing where my bow is going to shoot. So, Hunting Western Mass, Lenny Kale, Jay Bourque, thanks for visiting our page, and we'll catch you on our next video.
See ya.
See ya.